opportunity for us to have about half an hour with you on stage. So I'm going to be giving you the platform here. So Dr. Mihaljevic, let's first of all bring our audience up to speed with a very exciting collaboration agreement that was announced very recently. I'm going to call it still breaking news because it's very exciting. I want to hear about it in your own words. And of course, you come here representing CEO of Cleveland Clinic, 100-year organization, phenomenal pioneer, yourself and the organization as well. So this collaboration, it speaks really to you, your expertise. You were based here in Abu Dhabi at the forefront of launching the Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi as well. The collaboration between the US and the UAE, bring us up to speed.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming. I think this was such a generous introduction, so I hope not to disappoint. But what I like to say is it's always great to be back home here in the UAE. I've spent very many years in Abu Dhabi, and they were just wonderful years. So I'm always happy to be here. We are here for couple of really fundamental reasons. First of all, it's just an excellent leadership and stewardship of the country that has realized the importance of healthcare, that healthcare has in every single society. And then a joint commitment to bring Cleveland Clinic excellence in care to the UAE and to the world. That is impossible to do alone. Partnerships are essential. Our partnership with G42, and that is the agreement that you're speaking about, is extremely important, and it's very exciting because while our first decade of existence here in Abu Dhabi was based on a true effort to replicate the excellence and of healthcare of 21st century to the UAE, I think we've checked that box. The next big chapter for our shared journey is to transform healthcare in the world. And the only way to do it is through meaningful integration of artificial intelligence into healthcare.
And that allows us to seamlessly bring in Mr. AI, Mr. Peng Xiao, of course, the Group CEO of G42. I've had the pleasure of being on stage with yourself and working with your very talented team, speaking extensively to G42. AI transformation across the industries. We're not just talking about healthcare, finance, space. There's so many to name and we want to delve into them. But this particular collaboration, it is part of a huge investment by the UAE in the US. From your perspective, why is it so significant now?
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Tom, for having me here as well, and great to be here with all of you. I was wondering how you're going to fit all these people inside this structure. I realized it's vertical stacking. That's how we're doing this now. If you allow me, I want to first start by telling Tom a story I never told you before. My family, we moved here 10 years ago from Washington, D.C. And my wife, Stella, the first thing she told me after moving here was that I'm going home twice a year for my health checkup. And I'm going to stay in touch with all my doctors, world-class care in Washington, D.C. That's one thing I cannot miss. I don't go on vacation, I got to go home for that. And less than a year later, we discovered this facility right here. And more importantly, we discovered and met and built relationship with the physicians of this incredible institution. And since then, she's never been back once in the US for her healthcare. And this is a true story. And in fact, she feels now that it's so backward in the US. I'm sorry to say this, Tom, this facility is just different level for her. And she is very picky. So
Stella, I feel like next time we need her on.
She is the Cleveland CCAD ambassador. I mean it. Absolutely. She really is. And now, this partnership, Tom and I, we jointly signed right before the trip we took to the US with our leadership a few weeks ago. It's significant because I just discovered this earlier talking to Tom off stage. It's so much aligned with one of the key principles in the funding of Cleveland Clinic Foundation. You just told me right after World War I, 4 physicians in Ohio came together and decided they want to build a foundation to provide the best care to the world. One of the key principles is to bring research and care together. So I'm no physician. The last thing I know is really medicine, but I do know a few things about research. I do understand science. In particular, now we live in this age, all of you know very well now, age of AI revolution. AI is not just another piece of software, another productivity tool. AI is not even another internet, that type of broad stroke technology. AI is a real GPT in the sense of general purpose technology, GPT in that sense. So this AI that I'm helping to develop today with my colleagues around the world, think of it as a massive amount of brain power. It's a huge collection of IQ waiting to be unleashed, used in different scenarios. Recently, we announced at G42 this new program called a board observer, which is an AI agent that can come to your board meetings, which, by the way, Tom, I recommend you try it also. And it will actually participate actively in the board discussion. So the analogy I give to my team is this. It's like, imagine you had Einstein, who is alive again, his IQ available to you. You bring him into your boardroom. What would you do with it? Now, Einstein has no context of anything about G42, what we do in our company. But if you feed Einstein all the knowledge, all the meeting notes, every document, financial statement of your company from the very beginning, he actually has the time to ingest all of this, make sense of it, and then he sit down and say, okay, now I'm a board member. Let me give my advice. What we witnessed is mind-boggling. It's better than any board member, the quality. You know, most board members, they show up 5 minutes before the meeting, they read a couple pages, try to ask something. I'm sorry for other board members in this room.
I'm glad that you were saying that.
I'm a tech guy, I say whatever on my mind. So they're gonna just ask a few smart questions to look smart. Really, I mean, that's mostly what they do. Now you got a piercing insight from AI. In our case, we would ask this agent to use 100 to 200 hours of GPU time to pre-process all the board material, look at the problem and discussion topic from every single angle, then participate vocally. By the way, vocally you can exchange information with it. So that is a small example of taking this massive brain and focused on solving one problem. Going back to Stella again, after discovering Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi, literally she told me, well, G42 is doing wonderful things across from space to cybersecurity, but nothing is more important. Nothing is more worthwhile than what you're doing in healthcare. And she really meant that. I think this echoes probably everybody's sentiment here as well. The most profound use case today for AI, in my mind also, it's not in the outer space where Elon is going, where Jeff is going. It's in the inner space. It's looking inside, because we barely understand our own biology. I was talking to you earlier about this. We're so busy building non-biological intelligence today. AI is non-biological intelligence. We forgot to take care of our own biology, and we barely understand it. So I think the significance convergence of research and care put this massive IQ to actual work with true leading experts in the domain to guide us to build meaningful solutions.
Fantastic. And I knew that, gentlemen, I'd give you this platform and we would just be hanging on your every words here. This is really powerful, what we're hearing. Let's delve into some of the details there that, Mr. Xiao, you've outlined there. You talked about that convergence of AI and health. What exactly does it mean? What does it mean when AI is delivered in a clinical environment? What are you seeing already in Cleveland Clinic, and what are you hoping to achieve through this agreement?
Yeah. So I'm happy to elaborate on it briefly. But before I do, I have to share with you something that I haven't shared with you. My wife, Anya, also received care at Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi. And although we live in Cleveland, she told me, I'm going to continue to receive all of my care at Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi. So just in case you didn't know.
And the wives definitely deserve a round of applause, and next time we have them on stage. I think that's what happens. That's the follow-up event.
That's the follow-up event, yes. So the way that the AI is being applied in healthcare to date, is applied in a variety of different settings. But I will just mention a few that are already taking place. We're using it. First, probably the rollout is the most popular digital program ever rolled out in healthcare. For the first time, I've seen people being vocally enthusiastic, without fail, about something that we offer them that is digital. In the past, you bring electronic medical records, everybody was just having a horrible headaches because that actually didn't make their life easier on provider side. It took a lot of training and so on. But this product that I'm just about to mention has been endorsed phenomenally by everyone, and that is an AI scribe. What that means is that we can have this unstructured conversation, and there is going to be the AI platform that is going to record a conversation, and then, if this is a conversation between a provider and a patient, come up with a summary of the conversation in medical terms that can be just automatically entered into the medical record without a provider touching a keyboard. So it completely changes contemporary healthcare, where most doctors and nurses are looking at the screen and the patient is talking to them, looking at their profile. Obviously, huge empowerment and huge source of professional satisfaction. And there are many others. For example, AI for the analysis of images. Obviously, all radiographic images, essentially digital information analysis is lenses perfectly for AI analysis. So that's another one. But probably there's one thing that I would say. While this is easy to understand how AI can help in a variety of different businesses, healthcare included, in the ways that we're doing business today, a very interesting and very intriguing questions, and Peng and I were speaking about it together with George before, is to ask the following question. How would the delivery of healthcare look differently if we were to have all the AI solutions that we can imagine? If we were to put the AI in the center of healthcare delivery, how would that healthcare look like? What would be the team of providers that would need to be there? What would the space look like? What would the processes look like? What should patient experience look like? And I think this is a real opportunities for us to completely reimagine healthcare delivery, not just to bolt on AI solutions on existing platforms, but actually really question the entirety of the process and redesign it from the very beginning with an AI in the center.
Absolutely, and you speak there about empowerment, efficiency and analysis, and I think I share this sentiment with most of our colleagues here in the room. We are on board, we understand that. You mentioned the enthusiasm of embracing digital tools, so that provides us a nuance there, that there has been non-enthusiasm, reticence. People are concerned about jobs and also about transparency and accountability. So when it comes to this type of collaborative agreement, and the AI tools are created and handled by a company like G42, how do you convince the clinicians that they still have the ultimate power? So let's address some of that gritty reality.
Well, the gritty reality is actually not as gritty as people would like to perceive it. There's always some resistance to change. There's always going to be a resistance to process. But that resistance is actually not as severe as people would assume once those who provide care see that it really aids them in creating better solutions for their patients. If we create solutions that allow them to provide safer care for their patients, which they do, easier way to access it, that allows them to get all the data that none of us can absorb individually and translate it into better care, resistance is not going to be there. I am actually very bullish on the opportunities here, and we're always going to be focused on safety, we're always going to be focused on quality, and we're always going to be focused on a humane aspect of healthcare. That is not going to go away. It is just going to be amplified by AI. And I think that that the future is extremely bright in that regard.
And if there is resistance, they need to speak to your wife. I think should be equally bullish.
Yeah, yes. Well, as I said, you know, the resistance is going to be, I assume, very minimal.
Peng, if I can bring you in on that point about addressing some of the concerns. Now, when it comes to that intersection of AI and healthcare, there are obviously different ethical issues in terms of data privacy that perhaps in your space ventures aren't so paramount. How are you reassuring the organizations that you're collaborating with and also the people who are on the front line?
It's a great and very important question. I think Tom already addressed to a large extent that the fundamental plan around how to manage that from a healthcare provider point of view. From a technology provider point of view, number one, AI is a data technology, and we have been in this business, G42, and many of my colleagues from Oracle, Larry Ellison, to Satya at Microsoft, we've been all in the data business way before AI business for decades. So we understand how to protect data. We understand how to ensure data sovereignty, both for nations and for organizations, and also data privacy for individuals. So we'll bring all that knowledge to work here. But AI is different from previously, let's just say, traditional data analytics and data processing workload. AI will generate a lot more transactions than a typical database answering queries from humans would generate. Therefore, I'm going to be a bit technical on this. You have to bring the technology of blockchain. You know, there's a big argument, you often hear politicians talking about this with, again, I speak very frankly, no clue about the technology, saying, oh, cryptocurrency, this thing is so mysterious, this is for terrorists, this is for people who want to cheat and do money laundering. The truth is that the greatest form of financial crime is cash. It's cash. If I want to commit a crime, I give you cash. It's untraceable if there's some camera capturing us. Whereas every single transaction done using cryptocurrency is locked. It's locked forever. You'll never be able to erase it. You cannot possibly, because it's a distributed computing around the world. But behind cryptocurrency is the technology called the blockchain. So in the future, every piece of information, every decision AI helps you to make, we at G42 will make sure it's locked on blockchain. So if this particular AI agent, version 1.253, decides this image is okay, we can go back and say that decision was made at this particular moment, based on this particular model, trained on this particular data set, using this particular method. So the traceability is way beyond some doctor can recall, oh, that day I thought this, whatever, I didn't have a good breakfast, and whatever, right? So this is actually highly traceable. In fact, I argue with a proper convergence of blockchain technology and AI technology, there is a lot more transparency and accountability than humans can do manually. That's my technical view on this.
I really appreciate you going into the technical details and grappling with this question, because I think when we address that elephant in the room, and it is in the room because, you know, we've been at, for example, Abu Dhabi Global Health Week, and it does come up across conversations, people embracing innovation in AI, but of course there is some reticence, so the openness in discussing it. But as you say there, actually the transparency is actually more apparent. The traceability is there. And on that note, I have my pen in my hand because I've been working with the talented M42 team this week. I know they're represented here. Let's talk about M42. Let's talk about what you're doing in healthcare in that respect, and then how that feeds into this collaboration, that expertise, as you say, decades worth of data and expertise in this field as well.
Yeah, before I get into that, if you allow me to just
Yes.
make another comment that occurred to me just now. You know, when you have a great physician, he or she look at you. Last night I had a great conversation with our friend Peter Attier about his approach to treating his patients. What occurred to me, and Peter's been a friend for many years, is that Peter really is a computer in many ways. You're a computer. George, you're a computer. You went to medical school. you were trained, you went through training, and you see all these patients, you're further trained, you ingest all this data and life experiences, and your brain is a GPU. Okay, and the methodology learned in school and elsewhere is algorithm. And by the time you give a device to someone, you're doing inferencing. You heard this term training and inferencing on GPUs, right? So inferencing is when you actually are issuing the tokens and giving answers. So my point here is that the more we give AI a chance, it don't make mistakes, for sure, for sure. This is why we need to do research and collaboration in a lab first. But the more you train it, the better it'll get. This is a guarantee. We've seen evidence of it from Grok 3 versus Grok 2 to the latest Gemini 2.5 Pro versus previous version. Within weeks, with the right data set, this AI is getting so much smarter. We need to give it a chance. On M42, it is an incredible partnership between, obviously, G42 and Mubadala. And we realized that healthcare, especially health tech, to be successful, you need to scale. You can't do this just in an isolated instance. And we believe by coming together, we can bring the best of care and tech together, but importantly, create a larger scale. By the way, that's the reason why M42 later on went on to acquire Diavarian, a great dialysis company, and further expand our global footprint. I think this has given us a great opportunity to put our capabilities to work and to get broader feedback and able to advance our capabilities faster. And same here with Cleveland Clinic. We believe now we can actually go to a global scale. I want to thank Tom on the topic of scale in particular, because the day we signed right here was the next day, I think, I left to go to US. And Tom gave me a letter to bring with me, handwritten letter, which I delivered at my dinner with Mr. Larry Ellison. It's a letter, you guys know who Larry Ellison is, I'm sure, the founder of Oracle. And this letter was addressed to Larry as a friend by Tom. You are his friend, as I'm his friend as well. And written on this letter basically was an invitation to bring Abu Dhabi G42 Cleveland Clinic and Oracle Health together to do even broader, larger scale global healthcare initiatives. Larry was so happy to receive this letter, and for sure, we'll be doing even more partnerships. So it started with G42 Mubadala, Cleveland Clinic, now Oracle gonna come in, and we know many others will join us.
And we love hearing these behind the scenes details because we've all been following the coverage. It's super exciting, the UAE and US partnership. You both actually represent both countries in different phases of your life. So this is wonderful to hear this. And if you've got any more anecdotes to share with us, we can keep a secret. You know, we'll close the doors and make sure nobody tells anybody else. Those meetings just last month, phenomenal. I mean, it's incredible what the UAE is doing, a unique environment. I've been based here for over a decade, so I have that first-hand experience. When it comes to what the countries are doing, that collaboration, let's just take a step back and talk about that big overview there.
The countries meaning US and the UAE?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think, well, we are very, very excited about the fact that our countries having deepened their collaboration on a number of different fronts, but also broaden it in the same way. I mean, Peng can speak in great detail about our collaboration between the two countries in the area of artificial intelligence. That is extremely, extremely exciting. Probably the best example of US collaboration with any other country in the world. There is, to the best of my knowledge, there is nobody that comes even close. But Abu Dhabi Health Week, so that we're just kind of the part of, and many people here attend. I mean, this is the best example of collaboration between the two countries. Who is who in US healthcare, and very many people from all over the world, extremely reputable colleagues and institutions, providers, pharmaceutical, biotech, they've all come to Abu Dhabi. It was just absolutely unthinkable that something like that would have happened 10 or 15 years ago. So obviously it is close to my heart, our hearts. I know I can speak for Peng as well, because we were kind of part of that journey, but it is just a tremendous testament of a broader collaboration between our countries. And I'll just say one thing. We rarely use term which we coined, which is called a healthcare diplomacy. You know, advancement of human values of any country in a lasting, humane way, it is, in my personal opinion, and I believe it is shared by many in this room, best accomplished through healthcare. And there is something that almost every person on this planet would like to experience for their loved ones at the greatest time of need, and that is to have compassionate and excellent healthcare. Most people love to have a product that, you know, both of our wives and our family members have experienced. And it is our job, our reason for existence is to extend that to as many people as possible. Speaking about collaboration between the countries, I can see no better way to advance the values of two great countries, the United Arab Emirates and the United States, through collaboration in healthcare. Um, you know, nobody who's being cared for by caregivers who come from UAE or US healthcare organizations is going to have an ill will against those countries if their loved ones were being helped by those institutions. So I'm very enthusiastic about the future. I think this is unrealized opportunity for mankind.
I think your words really resonate with that point and that phrase there, healthcare diplomacy. I think it's a really powerful way to move forward, certainly for the countries. Peng, when we spoke about the collaboration, you were quoted as saying AI's potential to transform the healthcare industry remains largely untapped. So we've taken that broad view, the collaboration between the countries, the intersection of AI and healthcare. We've talked about some of the applications right now today. But let's look ahead to the future. When we're speaking about it being untapped, what do you envisage going forward? And of course, it's hard to say because we're looking at the lightning speed of change.
It's hard to make any predictions, especially about the future. So to echo what you said earlier, Tom, first, I think health is a great unifier and a great equalizer. And this is where we have indeed a universal language. And this is why this diplomacy, I believe, will work. We don't know what we don't know. So the great potential I refer to, how do I frame it? It's really in my head. I'll try to articulate my thoughts on this. Okay, again, last night I had this conversation with Peter Attia, right? He said, Peng, look, you're a big data guy, you're doing all this heavily computationally intensive work, but me, as a skilled physician, I'm paraphrasing him, that I need only 50 data points about you to tell you about your health. I don't need to read all that 6 billion data points of your DNA to know about your health. I just need to interview your father, your mother, your sister for 15 minutes. I can give you more insight about your health than reading your entire history of medical records. By the way, I think he's right. He's right. But this actually goes towards my point where I said, Peter, you're an algorithm. You're a computer. You've been trained. That's why you can do it. But how many people can you do this for? Okay, that's the first question. How do you scale that very skilled physician to population scale? How can you give Peter Attia to every one of us? Or Tom or George to every one of us? So that's the first thing AI can do, which is can learn from humans and multiply and be affordable and be in your pocket, be with you at all times and support you. But there's something more profound in my view. This is the hard part to explain. When Sam Altman in 2019 saw the first version, well, the first beta version of ChatGPT 2.0, he said, oh my God, to himself, he said this, I can see the future of AGI, artificial general intelligence. If you look back on that day, it was chilly day in San Francisco in 2019. If you look at that model he was playing with, you'll laugh. It's so poor in quality, yet he saw the potential. Sam went against many other excellent AI practitioners of his time. He focused on understanding human language. Many of the practitioners, myself included, my team, many of them I think are here right now, we were chasing image, we're chasing computer vision. We believe vision will give us more intelligence than language. But we were wrong. We were wrong. Well, eventually we got to combine them both. But language actually, by putting huge amount of language into the system, we extract more intelligence, logic, reasoning, all of it, than any other previously attempted AI training program. My point here is that biology is a language of its own. I mentioned this yesterday briefly, that if you look at what we are doing here at G42, we are looking at the 5 C's of human biology. The first C is code. Code is source code, it's DNA information. That's the billions of data points from your DNA sequence data. That's what we call your source code. It's given to you. You can choose it. Your parents give it to you. The second is the core. Core is imaging. It's a snapshot of your current state of physiology. This is who you are today. That's also very important. And you have continuous update of that imagery data set. Then you have chemistry, which is obviously your biomarker information. Then you have cellular functions. And finally, I call it context. Continuous monitoring of your lifestyle. The whoop you might be wearing, or a ring you might be wearing, or the journal you're keeping of what you eat, you exercise, and everything. We combine these 5 C's. It's a huge amount of data. I don't believe the 6 billion data points, majority of it is what's so-called junk genes. I don't believe there's much junk in us. I think everything is there for a reason. We just don't know it yet. Peter maybe need only 50 data points, but my supercomputer want to know everything. Because Peter might be focused on helping you to be longer today, but by reading through everything, making sense of everything we don't even know what it's saying today, we might unlock a larger secret about biology, about life sciences in general, about the difference between carbon-based life form and the new silicon-based life form we're trying to create. So I think there's something more profound in that, and that's what ultimately I want us to unlock.
And I love that word unlock, because it speaks to that idea of a treasure trove and also empowering the people on the front line to make the decisions in a more efficient way and with the right tools, because you talked about this idea of a unifier, an equalizer, and this universal language, and scaling up your friend Peter's knowledge, but ensuring that it's actually provided across the world, because I think that might be an area for us to discuss. I know that time is ticking, but we're all hanging on every word. So I want to address this point that Peng's made there. Scalability, health disparities, it really speaks to the heart of what the UAE is doing, G42, M42, but Cleveland Clinic as well. So let's just explore this and your perspective on this.
Yeah, I think the scalability of excellence in healthcare is a real challenge. I think it is not sufficiently appreciated in my opinion that, let's say, for the United States, where most people think there are excellent hospitals everywhere, as they are. If you were to take a look at the top 20 US healthcare systems, which most of us are familiar with in this room, and you take a look at how many Americans really get care by those systems, you will learn that only about 10% of all Americans receive the best of what US healthcare has to offer. And other countries are even more disproportionately disadvantaged.
Which is a shocking number, 10%.
Yeah, no, 10%. Well, you know, the large, renowned healthcare systems in the United States, let's take 2, Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic. 2 of our organizations combined have 3% of US market share. So we take care of 3% of Americans. There is no other segment in society when the best societal product that determines the difference between life and death is accessible by so few. And if you were to take a look at that globally, take a look at it globally for one moment, then you'll understand the opportunity ahead of us. But not only the opportunity, the mandate ahead of us. You know, this is what makes a difference between life and death. We all can relate to that. We have parents who are not in America. I can speak about, my late father did not have an advantage of accessing the best of what World Healthcare has to offer. And we all pay the price. So, that is the reason why we are so excited about a technological solution to scale up the excellence beyond the human reach. Every excellent doctor can take it, even with the biggest effort, a care for maybe, and then insufficiently so for a few hundred people a year.
Dr. Mihaljevic, I really love where you've taken this answer. Peng was saying off mic, he loves your perspective. I was really expecting you to talk about the global south, but the fact that you centered it in terms of the US, that just gives us a different framework. You've given us that idea of actually just saying where we've had assumptions, that we should also address the application there.
Oh yeah, the assumptions are pretty interesting because people are usually not afraid of what they're having today. They're very afraid of what the future is going to bring. But that assumes that what we're having today is close to perfection. And now we are concerned about the future. How many people here would look for second or third opinion for their loved ones when they have a serious illness? Everybody. Why? Because you do not trust a single human to make a life or death decision. There are very many people who send the same data to 3 or 4 world-renowned experts on a complex subject. Almost uniformly, they get 3 or 4 nuanced but different opinions. And why is that? Because of inherent imperfections that Peng just spoke about. AI can help, can bridge that gap that currently exists.
You are very convincing speakers, both of you. We are both on side. I love the fact that you refer to that word of opportunity and the universality that you mentioned earlier. When we speak to our esteemed audience who are gathered here, and I know that we are out of time, but I want to give you both a chance to maybe express your final comments. What would be your advice to our healthcare leaders who are hanging on your every word, both transformative leaders? What would you advise them in going forward in the intersection of AI and healthcare? Peng.
I think my advice, not highly qualified in front of this group here who are incredible medical professionals. I would say give AI a chance. Give AI a chance. You remember the early days, you turn on your iPhone when Siri first was introduced, all of us laughed. This thing is so silly, got everything wrong. I've never used it again. And where is Siri today? Siri has now become Apple Intelligence. Think of AI really as our friend Satya says, as a co-pilot. The more you care for it, the more you train it, the more you interact with it, the smarter, more optimized it becomes. Trust me, I know very well there are many, many issues and challenges with AI still, many. But in general, this form of intelligence has been proven. And I'll mention one thing to you. When we were in the US, in a wonderful meeting with Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, ahead of him going on stage for his annual user conference, his keynote speech, he taught my chairman, his Scientist Shitan, 3 things. This is very important. It's relevant to, I think, to all of us. He said, 3 things over the past 2 years have been proven true in the field of AI. Number 1, AI is real. It's not a hype. It's not black magic. It's real. We can explain, and it works. Number 2, he said, now is the time for the platform and network effect to amplify the power of AI. Meaning, like-minded partners need to come together now to coordinate. AI cannot be controlled by just one party. It has to be shared, used, and really deploy and adopt it globally. And the third thing he said was, AI will remain capital intensive, which we all know we'll have to invest more into this domain. So AI is real. AI is real, and give it a chance. You can't fully trust it. I don't fully trust my AI, but you have to use it to improve it.
And as you say there, we've been on a journey. It's been iterative. AI is real. You mentioned partnerships being key to this, but also this notion that capital intensity there. But the UAE is stepping up, and that huge big collaboration. We were talking about those huge figures, $1.4 trillion investments. I mean, the capital is there. It's been invested in the right places.
I think this is what happens when we have very enlightened and forward-looking leadership. There are many ways to spend $1.4 trillion, many ways. But to focus it on partners in the US and to focus it specifically in the domain of this GPT, general purpose technology, transform technology of AI, is truly visionary.
And the vision about scalability, about applying this so that we can address the health disparities, that's really at the heart of the vision. So I want to emphasize
Absolutely.
that. Dr. Mihaljevic, your advice to your colleagues and to our esteemed audience here, what would you say as your parting words?
Well, as parting words, I'd say that we always have to embrace the future. I think we need to be forward-looking. There's a problem that we need to solve. And the problem that we need to solve is that the healthcare, the way it's delivered today, is delivered in a way that is not sustainable even for the wealthiest nations in the world. The healthcare that we are delivering today, even in the wealthiest nations in the world, is delivered only to a lucky few. We need to deliver the fact that healthcare today cannot be scaled up just by hiring more people in healthcare and allocating more money, even if that money and that people were available. So we have to solve for those crucial issues in healthcare. And I do believe that AI is a tool, absolutely. It is going to be imperfect as every tool we've ever used in healthcare, but it will be better over time. I think it is on us to embrace it. It is on us to stick with it. It is on us to create partnerships that are going to allow us to scale it up for the world as quickly as possible. And it is really, for me, it's always been, there is only one reason why people in this room has chosen healthcare as a profession, and that is to help as many people as possible. We're not shy to use absolutely any and every tool that will allow us to deliver humane, compassionate, high quality care to as many people in need as they are.
And you're absolutely right to end on that note of passion and purpose. And as you say, you're not shy about driving forward that innovation. And neither of you have been shy in addressing the questions.
Can I say one last thing? If you don't, I really want to echo this point. It's so important. It really touches my heart. I'll tell you. So as an AI practitioner, today we scream on top of our lungs. We don't have enough capital. We don't have enough electricity. We need more workers in the factory. We need electricians. We need people who are hands-on. But really, the most important and noble hands-on work is not by electricians. I love them when I need them. It's really by medical professionals and nurses and physicians. What they do literally save lives. So I really want to just hats off to all of you, and Tom, to you in particular, and your leadership. What you do is the most noble of all professions. So hats off to you.
Thank you very much.
And that's really powerful, hearing that from you. There you go. I don't think we can top that very powerful ending to this wonderful fireside. Thank you for your trust and openness. I know we didn't go through the questions, but you both are a treasure trove of information. I'm going to thank you both for your time, your wisdom, your insights. And I hope that we can do this again, because there's more progress and we want to follow that journey. And on this point, I'm going to thank our generous host, Dr. George Pascal Haber, the whole Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi team, Cleveland Clinic, G42. To our esteemed audience, please stay for our wonderful, delightful dinner. A big round of applause to everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you.